We're going to turn now to our exclusive interview with President Trump and his comments on coronavirus, reopening schools, and excessive force by police. CBS's Herridge also asked the president if there should be a federal mandate wearing masks or if that's up to governors.
They can have their own guidelines, but they go by the CDC guidelines, and right now that's saying wear a mask, and that's okay with me. That's good.
Would you urge Americans to wear a mask?
If it's necessary, I would urge them to wear a mask, and I would say follow the guidelines.
Okay. Let's talk about testing. Back in March, you said every American who wants a test will get a test. But one of the major labs in the U.S. announced today that the average wait time for a result is about 7 days. So is the national testing strategy working?
Working. We have 45 million tests as of, I think, today, approximately 45 million tests. No other country tests like us. In fact, I could say it's working too much. It's working too well. We're doing testing, and we're finding thousands and thousands of cases.
What can you do to speed up the testing result time?
There are different kinds of tests. There are tests that are very good, very strong, where you send it to a laboratory. The best thing we can do, is we're doing more and more of them, is on-site testing. So you can wait a half an hour, or you can wait, in some cases, like in Abbott, you could wait 5 minutes for the test
Will you
result.
push for more on-site testing?
I like it the best. I mean, I like it the best. It might not be as accurate, by the way, but I like it the best.
On education, the Los Angeles School District is the latest and one of the largest in the country to say they're not going back to school in the fall.
Mistake.
What do you tell parents and teachers who feel that it's unsafe to go back?
I would tell parents and teachers that you should find yourself a new person, whoever's in charge of that decision, because it's a terrible decision. Because children and parents are dying from that trauma, too. They're dying because they can't do what they're doing. Mothers can't go to work because all of a sudden they have to stay home and watch their child, and fathers. What's happening? You know, there's a tremendous strain on that whole side of the equation.
So it's a balancing act.
It is a balancing act, but we have to open our schools.
President Trump, back in 2015, you said the Confederate battle flag belongs in a museum. Do you still believe that?
All I say is freedom of speech. It's very simple. My attitude is freedom of speech. Very strong views on the Confederate flag. With me, it's freedom of speech. Very simple. Like it, don't like it, it's freedom of speech.
Would you be comfortable with your supporters displaying the Confederate battle flag at political events?
You know, it depends on what your definition is, but I am comfortable with freedom of speech. It's very simple.
You understand why the flag is a painful symbol for many people, because it's a reminder of slavery.
Well, people love it, and I know people that like the Confederate flag, and they're not thinking about slavery. I look at NASCAR. You go to NASCAR, you had those flags all over the place. They stopped it. I just think it's freedom of speech, whether it's Confederate flags or Black Lives Matter or anything else you want to talk about. It's freedom of speech.
Let's talk about George Floyd. You said George Floyd's death was a terrible thing.
Terrible.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
Is phase 2 of the trade talks with China dead?
I'm not interested right now in talking to China.
So is it on hold, on the back burner?
Look, we made a great trade deal, but as soon as the deal was done, the ink wasn't even dry, and they hit us with the plague, okay? So right now, I'm not interested in talking to China about another deal. I'm interested in doing other things with China.
And how will you hold the Chinese government accountable for COVID-19?
You'll see. You'll see. It's not for you. It's for me.
But you will hold them accountable?
You'll see.
And we looked into the president's claims about law enforcement deaths. Researchers suggest that black people are about 3 times more likely to be killed by police. But the overall number of white people killed is higher because whites represent a larger percentage of the population, Nora.
All right, Herridge with that big interview tonight. Thank you, Catherine. And there will be much more of Catherine's interview with the president tomorrow on CBS This Morning.